Hello, friends, it's Zach. Well, you know what time of year it is. Snow is starting to fall, the sun is going down earlier than normal, and flu shots are the talk of the schoolyard. That's right, it's fall. And when I think of fall, I think of one thing yearly AAA gaming releases from your favorite gaming corporations, like this one, or this one, or this one. But today we're talking about this one Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I played the beta this weekend, and oh boy, it's definitely a Call of Duty. So, to celebrate the yearly COD season, I've decided to talk about something that's been frustrating me for years, and that's the campaign for Call of Duty Black Ops 3. You know, that super popular campaign that everyone talks about, featuring all your favorite characters like Hendrix, the Devil's favorite demon Kane, and of course, you, player. Yeah, they actually called you player. So plug in your augmentations through that spine of yours and get ready for a lot of rambling by a college student that hangs out in his apartment and complains about stupid shit like this. Call of Duty, specifically the Black Ops campaigns, have always been about conspiracies and the CIA and their shady dealings, and this one is no different. In the future of 2065, 40 years after the events of Black Ops 2, technology has been upgraded to augmentations and super soldiers are a normal thing. For those of you who haven't played Black Ops 2 or may not remember, the game has 8 possible endings, so you may be asking, what did Treyarch do? Did they choose one canon ending over the others? Well, sort of, but not really. You see, they did this thing called, let's put the game so far into the future that any of the endings could realistically be the canon ending because it's so far ahead that it doesn't matter. So then you may be wondering, how do they connect Blops 3 to Blops 1 and 2? Well, they did this.
Essential supplies are low.
How are you still holding on?
You can thank Raul Menendez.
What? Raul Menendez was a hypocritical egomaniac who thought he could make a better world by f***ing everything up.
And they had Nova 6 gas from Black Ops 1 reappear inexplicably and isn't even a main portion of the campaign. So, then, what happens in this game? Well, you become a genetic super soldier using a direct neural interface or a DNI. This allows you to shoot robots from your hands, take over enemy robots, and most importantly, connect to those with DNI as well and access their memories. When the CIA was developing the DNI, they used unsuspecting Singapore citizens and accidentally created an evil artificial intelligence named Corvus, a group of soldiers led by this man John Taylor and his team of boy, other boy, and girl discover these poor test subjects in a CIA black site. Taylor accidentally interfaces with the computer and is infected by Corvus, who starts deteriorating his brain and begins taking over Taylor. Corvus, similar to those weird minion memes that your mom reposts on Facebook, is transmitted when those with the DNI connect to another individual with said virus through their DNI. Your character player, yes, they called you player because they didn't want to make you a real character, has to track down all of Taylor's team and kill them so that the virus can't spread and take over the world, while you also fight off the virus and eventually your friend, Hendrix, in a battle of your mind. If you're already confused, I don't blame you. We have weird super augmented super soldiers, crazy STD artificial intelligences. The entire country of Singapore just dies for some reason. But it gets even weirder. You see, at the beginning of every level, these words scroll by you like if Sonic the Hedgehog was in charge of the Star Wars title crawl. When you slow down the footage and start to read, you realize they're reports made by Taylor. But how can they be reports, you ask? Your character is the one doing it, right? Wrong. At the end of the very first mission, you are left in a near-death state where only a last-minute surgery can save you. This surgery being the augmented DNI surgery. Your character actually dies due to surgery complications, but not before Taylor connects to you, and the entire game becomes a simulation going on inside your dying brain. The events of the game are actually memories from Taylor's brain, and you realize that the events of the game, besides the first and the last mission, are Taylor's experience, and then simulated in your brain, replacing Taylor with yourself. If you're still really confused, I'm going to try and explain it as best as I can, but this is just the stupidest campaign I've ever heard of in my entire life, so I'm sorry. None of the events that happen in the game actually happen the way that they're portrayed. Everything post the first mission to the last mission is a simulation inside of your brain trying to understand why it's dying, basically. Now, you would only know that if you slow down the scrolling wall of text that's at the beginning of every mission. These scrolling walls of text have appeared in countless Call of Duties, including the first Black Ops and Black Ops 2, and they've never ever really had any more information besides, this is what you're doing in the mission today. So there's no reason why you would ever slow this down to read it. If you're still confused, I don't blame you. I've put in nearly 60 hours of this game into the campaign alone, and I still don't understand it all myself. I've played this campaign enough to earn every decoration in this game, which is both the proudest and saddest achievement I've ever earned in my entire life, and the only reason I know the actual contents of this campaign is because of the COD Wiki and multiple other YouTube campaign videos, and even they can't all agree on what happens in this game. The game is already a confusing mess, and then you read in and realize it's all fake. It makes you wonder, what the was the point of this? There is so much going on that even me, the guy notorious in my friend group for loving ridiculously complicated stories and plots, finds it extremely infuriating. How is the story mode with time travel and multiple dimension hopping with zombies more understanding and less complicated than the actual normal campaign? So you may be wondering, okay Zach, sure it's confusing, but is that it? What could possibly make you hate this so much? Well, there's two more points. My first is the characters in the game, specifically the most insufferable, annoying, angry side character I've ever had the displeasure of playing besides, and that's Hendrix. Hendrix is the worst character in a Call of Duty campaign ever. He is infuriating. He is literally how I look back at myself in middle school, an annoying, loud, angry asshat of a person. I understand that through the game he is slowly being taken over by Corvus, the STD AI from earlier, similar to Taylor's team, and yourself, which changes his personality. Except it doesn't. Even from the beginning of the game, Hendrix is already overly angry about every situation.
Do as I say and you'll make it through this.
What about Lieutenant Khalil and the others?
Sorry, no time.
Khalil was a hero of the Cairo uprising. You know that makes him a valuable asset for their propaganda. They will make an example of him.
All right, let's go.
For a soldier who is supposed to always keep his cool, he's so easily irritable that makes you wonder how the hell he got chosen to be in the DNI program in the first place. Throughout the game, Kane, your CIA handler, speaks to you about how Hendrix is being taken over by Corvus, and that's why he's irritable. However, none of the other characters who are infected act in this way. They become more zombie-like, if anything, just sort of following what Corvus asks, but they never get overly angry. So naturally, when the entire campaign follows you in the walking, ticking time bomb that is Hendrix, you're just annoyed and frustrated. I don't think Corvus is a Hendrix issue. I just think he needs therapy. Now, what about the other characters, like Taylor's team? Well, Taylor himself is actually okay. The rest of his team, not so much. Throughout the campaign, we're told that this isn't who Taylor is, but we don't ever really see who Taylor is. We never really know his character. We see Taylor and his team for 1.5 missions before his team turns evil. Now let's talk about the team. At the beginning of the game, the team is introduced showing what their cybernetic abilities are capable of. However, they're so smug and obnoxious about it that you think they're just full of themselves. I'm not sure if that's the point, but throughout the game, when you hunt them down to stop the infection, the characters are seemingly sad about having to kill them, but they're so snobby and rude in the first mission that you just don't care. The only one you really spend time with is Sarah Hall, and that's due to the fact you literally go through her memories to see what is going on with the team and what is wrong with them. You have access to her mind, her fears, her near-death experiences, and you still just don't care. The team does train you in your cybernetic abilities at the beginning of the second mission, but they're just there to teach you the mechanics of the game, and then dip till they need to be evil. The only character I care even a little bit about is your handler Kane, and what do they do with her? Only kill her with a chemical agent that causes whoever is infected to die in pain and suffering for nearly a minute before death. Yeah, I understand it's supposed to incentivize the player to end the AI, to kill Corvus, but instead it feels like a cheap trick, and now the only character you even care a little about is dead. Finally, let's talk about your character, Player. Oh my god, they actually named you Player. Black Ops 3 decided to step away from the Mason dynasty of the last two Black Ops to instead choose a new character who can be personalized as either male or female. Now, instead of choosing a gender-neutral name, they just don't even bother to give you a name. If you look at the subtitles, it literally says player. I understand that Treyarch is trying to put you as the character. That's you. But other games do this as well, while keeping the character as a character, and it works. Link from The Legend of Zelda wasn't even officially called Link until the Breath of the Wild. It was whoever you wanted it to be. The Master Chief from Halo, up until Halo 4 really, didn't speak at all. It's just a platform for you to put yourself onto the character. And it works great in those games. But for Black Ops 3, it just doesn't work. I don't know what Treyarch was trying to do, because when you have the last two games being these big characters like Frank Woods or Alex Mason, these CIA operatives with years of experience, and then you just throw in someone named Player and you don't even bother to give them a real name, why should I care? You literally have no personality in the game besides, I must save the world. Your character is supposed to be going through a psychotic breakdown, when in reality it just sounds like you have a migraine. Out of the 7 characters I've talked about, you only really care about 2 at the most, and neither of those are the ones you play as. Technically. Because technically you are Taylor, but you're not. It's stupid. Which brings me to the final problem. When I played the game for the first time solo, I didn't see many issues with how the game ran. Sure, the story didn't make sense, the characters are obnoxious, but the gameplay itself wasn't that bad. Some things may pop in, but I don't really remember any, really bad glitches. However, when you play the game as a 4-player co-op or even another person comes in online, the game just breaks. Even nearly 5 years after the game was released, I still encounter so many game-breaking or unfortunate glitches that sometimes I can't even finish a level with friends because even skipping a cutscene can kick a person out of the game. Even when I don't skip them, they can still just randomly kick out one or all of my teammates. I recently replayed the game with my friends Chris and Jello because I need to beat every mission on Veteran without restarting from a checkpoint. Some missions took us hours to do because we just all couldn't stay in the game. This wasn't due to our internet, as we play other online campaigns on other games and even zombies in Black Ops 3, and we never have issues with them. One level in particular, Demon Within, has over 5 skippable cutscenes in a row, and every time it appeared, I was afraid my friends would be kicked out and we'd have to do the mission all over again. Multiple times has someone gone invisible, or my gun disappears and won't let me fire, or models just don't even load in. In this scene of the game here, when we were playing on the hardest difficulty realistic, there's supposed to be a guy in that tree there. There's supposed to be audio from that guy speaking to Corvus. He's just not there. This happened in July of 2016, almost a year after the game came out. And replaying it recently for this video, it's still just as broken, if not more. Not to mention how the game scales the enemies in co-op. I personally don't feel like this campaign was made for 4 players, as it seems like it was a last-minute add-in. I know it was shown to have 4-player co-op in June of that year, and it announced in April that it would, but between the glitches and how the only added difficulty to players seems to just be more enemies, I feel like the campaign wasn't created with multiplayer, or at the very least, not 4-player online co-op. The game is also adamant about how there are multiple ways to traverse or take on enemies.
Just one. High, low, left, right. Different paths yield different advantages.
Engaging hostile!
But what this comes down to, really, is that it doesn't matter. The game will say it will give you 3 choices: a street with no cover, a broken building with some cover, or a multi-story building with tons of cover to hide behind. Yeah, which one are you gonna pick? The game gives you tons of cybernetic abilities, about 12 to be exact, but throughout the campaign, I only need to use 3. Fireflies, which shoots out tiny robots that set enemy humans on fire, Remote Hijack, which lets you take over certain robot enemies such as turrets or Cerberuses, and Active Camo, which I didn't even use solo, I only used it in the campaign in co-op when I needed to revive a teammate and they were out in the open. The only reason I ever used the other 9 abilities was so I could get the decorations for the achievement. Yes, the game gives you tons of options, but there's only 5 at the most that are really useful. And when there's hundreds and hundreds of possibilities, and there's only like 2 correct answers, there's not really choice there. So that was the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 campaign. It's not great. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's really complicated. The characters range from annoying to forgettable to why do I care? And the amount of glitches in the game make it sometimes unplayable, especially if you're in co-op. But at the end of the day, I have a ton of great memories with this game. Like when my friends would go down, they'd have giant black boxes, where their guns should be, because their gun model just disappeared when they were down, and then when they would get right back up and it would be back for some reason. This game has a lot of glitches. It has problems, obviously. But those glitches and problems still gave me joy and fond memories of it. So I can't entirely be upset at it. It's like The Room or any of those other really bad that it's good movies where, they shoot for the stars. They didn't quite land, up in the stars, but they may have hit an asteroid flying by, and that's still kind of beautiful in a really destructive way. And I don't want to seem like this video is bashing everyone who worked on it. Obviously not. Everyone who worked on it worked super hard. Video game development is not easy. It's an unsung, practice that deserves a lot more recognition than it really gets, especially when you have to crunch time and all that, problematic things. So I don't want anyone thinking that I'm making fun of them with this video. Treyarch, you tried. That's all I can say. I appreciate when people do things that are different, especially when it's a Call of Duty and everyone kind of knows what Call of Duty is at this point. Me and other friends know the difference between a Black Ops 2 and a Modern Warfare 2 or a Modern Warfare 3 or World at War. We know the difference because we've played all those games. But to an outsider eye, Call of Duty just looks like Call of Duty. So when you try something new, I appreciate it. I love it when people do new things in movies or games or just anything. When they try new things, even if they don't do a great job at it the first time, maybe the second time it might be better. But you need a campaign. Even if the campaign isn't good, I would rather Call of Duty have a campaign than not. I'm looking at Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4 is probably the most underplayed game in the Call of Duty discography. Well, discography? Is that what you call it for games? I don't know. I'm talking off the cuff here. Obviously, I'm just kind of rambling. But, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is just not... It just wasn't it. Lacking that campaign really, really affected that game in a negative light. I hope Cold War is as good as it's looking up to. I'm very excited for it. The beta was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be back on the ground again, boots on the ground or whatever the people on Twitter are saying about Call of Duty, where it's just Call of Duty, It's nice. It's nice to go back to the basics and to have a campaign and to have zombies. Maybe zombies is different this time, again, from Black Ops 4. I personally wasn't a fan of Black Ops 4's changes to zombies, but I know some people were. It wasn't my cup of tea, but that's okay. Not everything has to be. That's it. If you really enjoyed the Black Ops 3 campaign, please let me know why. Write down, in the comments, or just kind of yell out your window. I'll probably hear it. About why you enjoyed the game. And, do all the things. Do the liking, the subscribing, the follow me on LinkedIn. I don't know. Whatever the kids are doing now. But, yeah, that's all I have to say about Black Ops 3. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I'll try to cut that down in later videos, but I just kind of need to get this out of my chest. I've been holding it in for 5 years, so it needs to be out in the open. But yeah, that's it. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you real soon. Later.